talking about earlier, you said you're very interested in the metaverse and social tokens. How do you see the metaverse specifically playing out? Because I'm not very visual. I don't have a very visual imagination, so I struggle to imagine the metaverse. Hopefully, it's not just me sitting looking at my computer. I like to imagine something a little bit more magical. But
Kobe needs
maybe
a
you can
full
crush
body
those
suit
dreams
with haptic feedback.
Yeah, like Ready Player One. That's my
So-
idea of the metaverse.
So there's a bunch of trends going on. Firstly, Apple is reorientating everything around AR. So they're building an entire interactive map of the world, which is augmented reality. They're building 3D designable objects that can be embedded in stuff. There's all sorts. They've got this spatial sound now that's come out on iTunes, which again is really, it's not about listening to music. It's about having a 3D space of sound around you like we live in the real world, right? So that's hurtling. Basically, Facebook is cornering the entire technology for VR. That's going on as well. So there's these mega trends that are going on. Then it dawned on me, I've been speaking to people like Pierce Kicks from Delphi, who've been talking me through the metaverse. And I was trying to get my head around a lot of this stuff. And then I happened to be talking to somebody about something, and they flicked me over a coordinate within crypto voxels. And that coordinate gave me an avatar, you kind of just borrowed avatar. You turn up, and it was in a NFT store, which had records playing, videos on the wall, shit going on. And I'm like, oh, well, that's the end of websites. A 2D website, that's just not going to cut it any longer. And then once I realized that, I then realized you can create your own space in it. So right now, we've got these stupid windows open on our screens, and you're closing them and opening them. Well, you can actually just design a 3D space with your Twitter feed up, your Telegram, video, your Netflix, your research, all in one space. And before you know it, you've got rid of platforms too. And you create your own platforms. So I think that's where it's all coming.
You remember the Google Glass thing that was everybody mocked, and I wonder if we'll look back and think like that was basically the equivalent of like the bag phone or like the Zach Morris Saved by the Bell brick phone, and we'll end up seeing AR play out with like much more seamless glasses where it looks like a normal pair of glasses, but instead you got the whole thing like right there in front of your eyeballs.
Yeah, so Apple are working on that too. So, as you say, this is just the first bit of technology. It was the shot across the bow. How would people think about this? This is not going away. Talk about network adoption effects. As the whole world moves to AR and then VR, I mean, literally every single person has to change their business model and how they operate in the world, how they socialize. And we're already seeing it with, kids on Fortnite. I mean, they live there and they have, everything has value. Digital has value. The whole world's going to go through this whole transition. They just don't know it yet. And you talk to people about it and they're like, oh my God, this is so dystopian. It doesn't have to be dystopian. It can actually be, an augmented reality can be actually very powerful for you. So yeah, I just think it's massive. And seeing, when you listen to people like Tim Sweeney of Epic Games talking about it, I mean, the amount of money that's going into this and how people are thinking about it. The CEO of NVIDIA was saying, well, the future of all of this is, the future of all kind of chip technology and everything else is obviously the metaverse.
Kobe, I think
you can't get to the metaverse until you've got enough processing power.
I think he's saying I'm going to be able to sell my Meebit someday.
Dude, your Meebit is going to zero.
Already is.
It's already at zero. It's made it back where it belongs. Found its true value. I think it makes sense because, I like the reference to Fortnite because Fortnite very much became like the third place for the kids, right? Like they hang out at home, they hang out at school, and then they hang out in this place with their friends. And for a generation, it was like maybe the mall. I think that's what they call it in America, like a shopping center or something.
Yeah,
or
exactly right.
The skate park, and that sort of transitioned into being this digital space, and they play video games together. And it's not so much about the video game; it's about doing something with your friends and hanging out with your friends and chatting to them while you just participate in some activity. And the activity don't matter so much. And for me, when I was younger, it was a little bit more solitary, but it was like RuneScape. You had your RuneScape mates, and you chat to them while like cutting a tree down or something. And it means that these sort of versions of a metaverse or a third place, at least a digital third place, have existed for a while. But what I find interesting is like in the parallel to the multi-chain world, I guess, is there going to be one metaverse? Is there going to be like a metaverse that's spun up by, Bill Gates, and then another metaverse that's spun up by Elon and Grimes, and then another metaverse that like Ledger comes up with in his own time, full of VTubers? Or is it going to be like one united world? Like how do you see that working?
It's exactly the same as crypto. So you've got already, there's the crypto versions of Decentraland, Crypto Voxels, and a whole bunch of these things. Then we've got the massive game versions, of which there's tons of these. And what's happening is everyone's working on interoperability. So I can take an asset from one to another. And then you're creating whole economic systems that money can flow in and out. You get network effects within them, and there's the larger network effect of a larger metaverse that you can then exchange value in, live in, earn value, which is the most important thing. If you can start earning value in it, which you can already, and move it around this world, okay, then you're driving all sorts of economic benefits and also forcing these metaverses to improve their experience for their citizens, because if not, the money leaves and it collapses the economy. It's fascinating. I think it's a whole layer of GDP growth that doesn't exist. I think it's like discovering the Americas all over again.
A lot of GDP growth that doesn't exist. I really like that. That's great. I often feel like that about crypto. It's like a whole bunch of money that doesn't exist. So that's super interesting. I think I've been thinking for a while about an idea. What's the woman who created the blood company that wasn't a real company?
Elizabeth Holmes.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the company called?
Theranos.
Theranos, that was it, yeah. I've been thinking for a while, what's a Theranos-style company that I can build and raise money for and spend 15 years making zero progress, but the investors don't really care because it's so ambitious.
That's what Cardano is.
No, but I'm just going to build the Oasis. I'm going to build the Oasis. Look, I read Ready Player 1, I read Ready Player 2. That seems technically ambitious. It could take 20 years if I make no progress. That's a low probability bet. That's what I'm going to do. After this call, I'm getting straight on with investors. I'm going to make the Oasis.
You could raise plenty of capital, endless rounds of capital for that.
Yeah, I'm building the Oasis, dude.
Because in the end, people think investors are stupid, but in the end, it's just an option. Because if you actually did build it, it's worth a couple of $1 trillion.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to mind. It's a low probability bet. We'll throw him some money. It's fine.
That's right.
And then I'm going to pre-sell.
You can make a few $100 million out of it and just disappear off to the Cayman Islands.
I'll pre-sell land as NFTs, make another 100 million, and then I'll SPAC it and I'll make another 100 million.
There you go.
Bro, do you know any good places in the Caymans to hide after this is all done? Because the scheme is public and open right now, so
unfortunately, this is not a very good country for that because it's even opening a bank account takes about 6 months here. It's miserable. So you probably have to hide out in Costa Rica or somewhere.
All right, that sounds nice. Costa Rica.
Or Delaware. Americans are all massive tax evaders. They just go to Delaware.
Oh.
Only